In today's episode, I'll be speaking with Team TAWI, who are the former winners of the Microsoft Imagine Cup competition 2022, and they will be talking to us about how they built a solution that will help children all over the world living with auditory processing disorder. You don't want to miss this one. Stay tuned. Mona, Santish, welcome to today's episode. I am really excited to hear about your startup journey with Project TAWI. But before we get straight into it, we would really love to hear more about yourselves. So, Mona, could we start with you? Please share a little bit about yourself, include a fun fact, and maybe something that most people don't know about you.
Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing okay when you're watching this video. My name is Mona, and I'm a software engineering student currently at USA Europe, Africa. And fun fact about me is I love programming, and also I'm a quantum computers enthusiast, and I love baking. Can you imagine that?
I will not have guessed that. Really interesting.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. That's super great. So Santish, over to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Santish Musau. I am a third year student at United States International University, Africa, and I am doing applied computer science and technology. I like everything about computers and AI. And a fun thing about me is mostly, a very fun thing about me, I like music. And yeah, I like music.
Interesting, interesting. So yeah, good to hear about you. I'm really inspired by the fact that you're students and you've done an amazing work out here that we'll be talking about. So yeah, that's really, really super inspirational to me. I know that you guys have built something that is truly remarkable, something that is making the world a better place for children who are living with auditory processing disorder. But before we get straight into the project, APD is a very specific challenge. It's a very specific condition. So I'm really curious to understand what your motivation was and how you ended up narrowing down to this particular problem and dedicating your resources, your time, your skills to ensuring that you're at least making it better for people who are living with APD. So I don't know if you could speak more into the motivation behind this project.
Yeah, sure. Why not? So we actually have two more co-founders that are not with us today. But one of our co-founders, he's a family member, has the spectrum of autism, which APD is also in the spectrum of autism. And what we realized statistically is that there's a lot of children in the world who actually have APD, but then it goes untreated or undiagnosed. And the thing is, with Africa, especially getting the medical services, such as identifying something like APD, it's extremely hard. Not just, let alone getting the device to actually help them with their day-to-day activities while they have this condition. And as a team, we met in school, and that's where we formed the group because each one of us has a different talent that they could bring to the table in order to make it a success. And we thought of the idea to build a product that surrounds people with disabilities, especially the hearing and the spectrum of autism. And what came along was auditory processing disorder, which is now a condition that actually affects the brain's ability to process what someone says. And it also happens, especially if it's in a noisy environment. So for a child who's actually in a noisy environment and someone is talking to them and assuming they have APD, their brain distorts the information with noise and it becomes just pure noise. And that makes them feel nervous. So for them to feel like they can handle everything on a day-to-day basis, they isolate themselves from their peers. And with isolation, it comes with a lot of disadvantages, especially in a classroom. You'd like a child should be able to participate in class and answer questions, and that's how they're able to understand what the lecturer is saying and the concepts. For you to get the concept, you have to be asking questions and understanding what the lecturer is saying. And for them, it's extremely hard. So that's why we decided to go along with this condition in order to actually help them. And because in Africa, a lot of people live below the minimum wages. And
Yeah.
for a child who is born in a family like that, it's very hard to afford hearing aids. So that's why we decided to come up with a solution that is not only affordable for them, but also accessible.
Yeah.
And yeah, when we looked into the accessibility area and affordability, we wanted to use something that is already available for the child or even the parent,
Yeah.
so that it doesn't become a burden to purchase something else. And that came along with just using a phone and earphones, and we realized that we can actually give them a resource by just those two objects.
Yeah.
And which is amazing because now they don't have to actually purchase hearing aids, which can actually break down in like 4 years and they need to replace them again. And with just our solution, they're able to get all the services they need. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's a really, really good background. And see, this is why I love innovation. The fact that this started as an immediate problem for one of the co-founders of TAWI, and you identified it as an immediate problem. You did your research, realized that this is not only affecting one of you, but it's affecting thousands of families out there. So I'm really, really inspired by that. And for those who don't know, TAWI is actually a Swahili word for leaf. So I know that we've been talking so much about a solution, but our audience doesn't really know more about it. So could you maybe tell us more about TAWI, what the product does and what it is?
Yes, I will talk about Tawi. Tawi, first of all, that name means leaf. We thought about that sprouting leaf because looking at a sprouting leaf, it's to us, it means like a the future generation. So bringing this solution to children is like a way of upping our future leaders, the future generation to learn better and to learn as and be in the best condition as they can and learn better. That's why we've chosen that name. About our solution, I will talk about it. I can even explain how it works if, yeah.
Yes, yes,
About
please.
the solution, so how it works, it's our solution with just a smartphone and earphone. By the time you have our application installed in your phone, you can easily um, listen to what someone is saying. As Mona is just explained very soon, a person or a child with auditory processing disorder will have struggle listening to what is being said in a place where there is a lot of background noise. Like I'm just giving an example. Like let me say I'm in a classroom setting, a professor is teaching, and students are making some noise. It will be very hard for the students who has auditory processing disorder to listen clearly. Now, what our application does, it will filter the voice of the lecturer, and then it will remove the background noise. That way, the child will be able to listen very clearly what the professor is teaching. And at the same time, our application also gives out speech to text alternative. This way, apart from listening a very clear audio, the child will be able to also read what the professor is saying. And it will be very easy now for children in going to school having auditory processing disorder to also use by using our application they can easily succeed in the academics and listen better, interact with others.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And something that I really love about your solution is that you're presenting it in a very simple and easy to adopt way for these children, in that they don't need to start getting comfortable to new external and often uncomfortable hardware that they have to carry along whenever they're interacting with their peers. So with something as easy as a mobile phone and earphones, they're able to have this normal interaction with their peers. So I'm really loving the whole aspect of the project. I love what I hear so far. So I'm curious whether you have a demo so that we can at least see a little bit of TAWI in action.
Yeah, why not? Let's play the first video.
Cool.
My name is Jacob Juma. Can you tell me what is your name and tell me what you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah, so for the first videos you have seen, it shows a scenario where there's children in a noisy environment, and the child who's using the phone, basically she has APD, and in that noisy environment, if she hasn't been using our device in that scenario, she wouldn't be hearing what other people are saying to her specifically. But with using our device, it's able to cancel background noise and amplify audio from the other peers that they're speaking to her so that she can be able to hear, and also she can be able to see the speech conversion to text in real time. We can play the second video so that you can see it.
My name is Jacob Juma. Can you tell me what is your name and tell me what you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah, so as you can see, the audio that comes out with that is extremely clear. So not only does it cancel out just any background noise, but then the model that we're using, which is the whisper model, it cancels out a lot of noise that can include animals or even a hoot of a car, all that, which is really amazing to give out a product that is efficient in that manner.
Yeah, that's really great. And as I've seen from the video, this is happening all in real time. So as you're having that conversation, I'm able to just clearly hear what my peer is telling me, and at the same time, I can have the option to read on my mobile phone. That's correct.
Yes.
That's really powerful. And I'm also now curious in terms of the technologies that are working under the hood to make this happen. So I don't know if you could sort of break it down to us, help us understand what technologies are powering this powerful tool. What are the AI services that you're using? You mentioned the Whisper model, so I'm also curious to understand how you're incorporating and leveraging AI for this solution.
Yeah, we can. I can show you the architecture behind it. Yeah, so as you can see, we're using Django. So our backend mainly is made up of Python, and we're using Azure Event Hub specifically for streamlining audio in with low latency, so that we can have it as real time as we can. And for the OpenAI Whisper, the reason why we chose it is because it's trained with more than 700,000 hours of multi-languages, and it can power up a lot of languages. But then currently, we decided to first start with English and see how it works well with our customers, because we are actually starting it out from a local environment, which is Kenya. And Kenya, we have English as our language as well. And we're actually using OpenAI Whisper and Metric and Plus model to enhance speech. And what this actually does at the same time, it cancels out the background noise and then amplifies the audio. But then we decided to integrate it again with Azure Event Grid and Azure Functions, and together with the Azure Cognitive Services, in order to get speech to text transcription in real time.
Yeah. Fantastic. Something I'm picking from this architecture is that it's really simple, and just the fact that you've managed to put this together and have this working solution that is being presented in form of a mobile app is just really remarkable. So I can see that on your architecture diagram you actually have Azure Cognitive Service. So specifically, I think you are using the speech service, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So just
We
maybe,
use, yes.
sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry. So we're using the Azure Cognitive Services because it can actually power up our real-time solution, and specifically since our solution is cloud-based, it works extremely well with the real-time streaming of audio. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So this actually brings up something that's pretty interesting, because I'm pretty sure that by the time you were developing this solution, you actually were working with Azure Cognitive Service. But by the time of recording this video, I don't know if you're aware, but Azure Cognitive Service is actually rebranded. So right now, everything that was previously under Azure Cognitive Service is what is being referred to as Azure AI Service. And so one of the AI solutions that you use there, the speech to text, is actually under Azure AI Service. So it's really interesting to see how quickly things evolve. Another interesting fact there is I see that you're directly using the OpenAI Whisper model. A fun fact as well is that this model is now currently available on Azure. So if you have your existing architecture on Azure, you can easily incorporate the Whisper model alongside other models from OpenAI directly from the Azure portal. So this is really interesting to know, a true testament of how fast things are evolving. And speaking of that, something I was thinking about earlier is while you guys were in the middle of developing this solution, that's when there was this explosion and this buzz around AI, generative AI, LLMs. So I'm just curious to hear from the two of you whether this kind of sparked an urge for you to just incorporate LLMs in your solutions. Did you feel like you had to change any designs that you had and just quickly adopt to generative AI because everyone was talking about that? Or how was that experience for you, given that you were right in the middle of developing your product when everything started to just go super fast in the field of AI?
Well, by that time, we decided now to go ahead and implement our solution, making it to be work perfectly real time, because we were having some issues before. But now looking at it, like everyone, all the whole world is now going ahead, moving world AI. We felt like this is something that can be actually done. We can't just give up and let everything here. We have to go
Yeah.
ahead and continue and implement it, and it's still possible. It's really encouraging us because at some point we felt like, wow, there is a lot of work to be done here, and making the work to be real time might not be possible. But after
Yeah.
that event, we could really see the potential of using AI in our solution, and it's really encouraged us to go ahead and move, yes, with AI solutions.
Yeah, so sounds really good. And I'm just curious, I wanted to maybe hear from you whether you, from your experience, whether you may have something to share with any startup who probably is thinking of adding AI capabilities into their existing products, having gone through that, where you actually now are leveraging the different AI resources. What does it take to actually be ready to infuse AI in your existing system? So I'm just curious whether from your experience you have a thing or two that you can share with anyone who might be listening to this.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, currently we're in the AI boom, and it's not going backwards. It's going forward, and
Yeah.
we need to embrace it as part of our real day-to-day activities that can actually help us move to discovering new medicines or new technologies that can help us out with our day-to-day activities. And my advice would be for anyone who wants to actually implement AI in the solution, I'd advise you go ahead and try it out, because even though the solution that you're trying to implement, let's say it's in the early stages of development, but I'm sure it always AI always grows up and becomes something even bigger and better. And it's better if you start right now rather than being afraid of what it's going to do. I'd say let's embrace it because it has more advantages to us than disadvantages. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of just boarding this ship and letting us see what
Yeah.
we can do with AI since it's already with
Mhm.
us. So yeah, sounds really good. So I may not know so much about startups, but one thing I know is that for a fact it's not a very easy journey. I know that in most cases there are some challenges that especially early founders go through. So I'm just also curious in terms of you. You mentioned that the team is quite big. And I also know that you participated in last year's Imagine Cup. So I'm also curious in terms of any challenges that you faced as a team trying to get started with TAWI, how you transition from a project to a startup. So during that duration, what are some of the challenges, the key challenges that you faced as a team?
During this challenge, during this time, that time, it's like as before, like it's not easy to work as a team and have the same vision, because everyone will come with their different ideas, suggest how we can do things, and coming up together and agreeing on one common thing. It's not an easy thing. It's not easy. So some of the challenges we faced during our working together toward Imagine Cup was trying to find trying to find a common agreement on on specific topic we had to work on. But lucky us, because at the end of it all, we had to have and share the common vision, because we had to go together, work together through this journey, which wasn't easy. And apart from that, I just remember at some point we still had some issues, some technical issues, but we were still trying to work together with those technical issues, trying to solve problems whenever there is an issue, trying to check on each other where there is specific problem, what needs to be
Yeah.
done. And yeah, I really liked the way we finally, at the end of the journey, we finally worked through together. But in the beginning, it wasn't easy at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even with our solution, we also hit some roadblocks, but then the specific technology that we're using, it had a bit of a disadvantage because we actually had to train with extra data sets in terms of accents. So what happens is with our solution, because it uses audio, sometimes we have different people with different accents according to their mother tongues. And someone might say pilot, but then it could translate it as pirate. So we have to realize how to effectively fix a model in order to actually accommodate different types of mother tongues that come with our country. And I think that's part of the problems that we encountered, which actually made us think about it as a team and grow together in order to solve the solution as one.
Wow, that's really powerful. And something I'm picking from both of you is that teamwork, team collaboration is really a big factor that drives the success of a startup. And just from your story, what I've learned is that at first, since everyone comes in with different objectives from different backgrounds with different ideas, then of course you can anticipate having those conflicts. But again, the strong point there is just figuring out a way to ensure that every voice is being heard and you're at least getting to a point where you can move forward in the same direction. So I'm really excited to learn that from you and to hear that as a team you finally were able to find a model that worked for everyone. And I'm just curious, and I would like to throw this question back to you. Now looking back, is there anything that you would probably do differently if you were to go back to when you were starting TAWI?
I mean, I wouldn't do anything different specifically because the journey is what made us who we are right now, and we decided to embrace it as it came along. So, with each and every step, we learn from it and we try to become better for the future. But then, personally, I wouldn't change anything from the journey that we've had so far.
Wow. Santish, do you share the same?
Okay, on my side, okay, I haven't thought about this before, but I haven't seriously not thought about it before. But I think this, what I can say about this, it's been such a journey for growth, because when I can just look back from where we've started, from the ideation project all the way to
Yeah.
working on building the app to conceptualize everything. It's been such a growth journey. That's what I can say. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic, fantastic. Well, that's lovely to hear. So probably a last question that I may ask is, I know again for startups, a huge milestone is usually getting that first MVP or that first version of the product out. So in terms of resources, especially when you're dealing with cloud, and in this case, you're actually leveraging some AI resources. So how are you able to access the credits? How are you able to get additional resources? You mentioned about a roadblock being some technical hiccups. So I know that you're part of Founders Hub, so probably could you share more about how that program came in handy to help you come and pass through some of these milestones?
Yeah, why not? I mean, with the Founders Hub, it gave us a platform specifically to play around with our startup and figure out what might be best and what technologies can we use. And the reason behind that is Microsoft Founders Hub. It gives us a lot of credits that come with different technologies which we could leverage, and also we had discounts from a lot of technologies that would otherwise pay a lot of money to get access to. And we're really thankful for that because it helped us realize specifically what technologies are best to go ahead with our solution. And also, I'd also point out that we had a lot of coaching and feedback that came from Microsoft Founders Hub because there's a platform that has expertise in this area, and you can just ask the people who are there and they can give you advice on what can go well with your solution. And specifically for us, we had a problem with scaling it economically. How can we make sure that the product you are bringing in wouldn't capsize because of the profit
Yeah.
that we might not incur? And we had a lot of advice on the business sector because all of us were software engineers, and we were really thankful for that because now we are able to know exactly how much we can charge with our solution in order not to burden our customers, nor burden us in scaling the business and keeping it running full time. Yes.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great. And this has been great. I've really learned so much about you as individuals, as a team, the product that you're working on. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing your stories, for sharing the inspiration behind the project. And if you've loved and enjoyed what you've had, if you're starting your own startup, you can definitely check out Microsoft Founders Hub, see if you'll find some resources that can help you go to the next level. And as for Team TAWI, thank you so much for this incredible innovation. And in case you know any children living with APD, be sure to share about Project TAWI. I'm sure this is a solution that can really, really help them. So yeah, once again, this has been great. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, and catch you next time. All right.